Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and I got a very special video for you guys today. We're going to be announcing 2 contests for Channel 5 Gaming, so stay tuned and let's check it out. Alright guys, so before we get into things, I just want to quickly explain. Channel 5 Gaming is now doing monthly contests, several of them. We give away Steam games and prizes, all that good stuff. We've already done the Planet Coaster Channel 5 Gaming Go-Kart contest. We had 22 contestants in that, and we had 3 winners that all received prizes. And now we have a boomerang contest that's been going for the last 3 weeks, which is ending Friday, May 12th. I'm going to quickly explain to you guys how that contest is going to work, so you guys get a little excited about that. We changed the rules around a little bit for this one. So first of all, it's for Discord members only, and you can become a Discord member by simply reading the rules down in the description below. All you got to do is add me as a friend and send me a link showing that you play the game. It's that simple. We had over 40 people submit boomerangs so far, and there's still about a day left, so we might even see more. But this time we've divided things into weight classes. So that means the beginners don't have to compete against the very best legend. So we have the lightweight classes like our beginners. The middleweight class is our builders and advanced builders, and the heavyweight class is the experts, masters, and legends. So everybody gets to compete against someone in their level, and there's a bronze, silver, and gold winner for each. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to do the judging process again, and we're going to take little clips where we introduce the person's coaster, we ride it, and we're going to clip up all those coasters into videos for you guys. So when we do the judging, you'll get 3 videos coming out in the next few days. One where we're looking at all the lightweight contestants. The next video will be all the middleweight contestants, and the last video will be all the heavyweight contestants. All the winners get their own POV for the show, so we're going to roll out a series. So day 1, you'll see the bronze, silver, and gold winners for the beginners. Day 2, you'll see the bronze, silver, and gold winners for the middleweights, and day 3, the finale, you'll see the bronze, silver, and gold winners for the heavyweights. And each one of those videos is their own personal POV with a thumbnail. That way they get entered into the top 10 coasters of May. So there you have it, guys. We're going to have basically a 4-day binge session of boomerangs coming up in the next couple days, and you guys are going to see over 40 boomerangs and the results of the contest. Now let's talk about the new contest here. We got 2 contests launching at the same time as the boomerangs ending. We have the exploration coaster contest. Shout out to Tommy T for making this beautiful thumbnail. We need a thumbnail still for the themed coaster station contest. We'll talk about that for now, though. We don't have a thumbnail for that, and Tommy's also making some belts for the different weight divisions, which is cool. And we also have trophies. So thank you, Tommy, for all your hard work on the graphic design. Really awesome. And thank you to Lauren for putting together this sheet. Lauren, Galcian, and I, we talked about this contest, and we came up with the best rules possible for it. So let's go over it, guys. First things first, you have to be a Discord member. So all the fans watching, the subscribers and stuff, if you want to get into these contests, just add me on Discord, send me a link to your workshop showing you play the game, and you're in. Or you could become a patron and also help support the channel, so we can get the funds to keep these fun things going. All right, so let's dive into it. Channel 5 Gaming's second contest of the year will feature exploration coasters, also known as Galcian style coasters. For this contest, you will create a coaster that traverses terrain throughout a park. Creations will be judged on how well you combine the elements of the coaster with those of the terrain, while keeping the excitement and interest levels high. So my best way of explaining this is it's a symbiosis between terrain and coaster. We're not just judging the coaster, guys, we're judging the terrain. How well does the terrain hug the coaster, and vice versa? How many vistas and amazing thrilling views do you get as the coaster comes out of a cave and reveals to you a waterfall and that sort of thing? This is an exploration, and how well do you use that terrain? So this is really not just a coaster building competition, but a terrain sculpting competition. So it's very fun. Details. So the contest will run until Friday, June 9th. That gives you guys exactly a month and a day to do this contest. Quite a good amount of time. Judging will take place the following day, hopefully. So we will choose 3 winners from each class to be featured in the contest and video, and first place for each class will receive 2 games. We might even increase this, guys. I'm not quite sure. Maybe we'll give some games away to the silver or bronze runner-ups, or maybe we'll give 1 game to each people. This is subject to change, but the current current contest is 2 games, so maybe I'll leave it. I'm still undecided about it, but we do have a big list of games now, and it's still growing. So various members have contributed to the Steam games, which will be given away as prizes. Now, one of the prizes you guys get is a point of view video. So when you win, you get your own point of view. Basically, you get a coaster spotlight with trimmed down commentary, I suppose, and that means you get entered into the top 10 coasters of the month. So by doing this, you're basically, if you win, if you get the first, second, or third in your weight division, you're going to get your own coaster spotlight and entered into the top 10 coasters of the month. So it's well worth it. It's a guaranteed spotlight right away. And here we go, guys. There's a list of games. Lauren, I, and Matrix Retoasted and Pixelated have all donated games into this list. This list is 151 games on Steam, all different price ranges. This list will grow every month. Lauren and I have a Humble Bundle monthly package, so we're going to be adding 20 games to the list every month, and that's hopefully as many games as we're giving away. So we should always have a good list of 150, and maybe we'll find some people who want to donate their keys to this list. So very cool. All right, here's the form. Essentially, when you finish your exploration coaster, you enter it into this form: email, Discord name, direct link to your submission, and any special instructions if there's a time of day or whatever you want us to ride it at, and we'll receive it, and boom, you're in. That's simple. So this form is linked in here for when you're ready to submit. All right, let's jump into the contest rules. Only 1 submission per member. Submissions will be parks, guys, so no blueprints. The park must be open to the public, and guests must be able and willing to ride the coaster. What this means is we want to be able to jump on your coaster with the guests immediately. As soon as we open up the park, there's guests in the queue. It's been running for a while. Everything's good to go. You have a mechanic in case it breaks down, all that good stuff. Coaster stats must be acceptable ranges the guests will ride. In other words, guys, no failed coasters, no coasters in the complete red. Only 1 coaster is allowed inside the park, which that just basically means no synchronized coasters will be accepted. All right. Minimum track length of 3,000 meters, roughly 10,000 feet, or also 3 kilometers. Any of those numbers, they're all the same essentially. Just be careful when you're getting to here, guys, is if we see a coaster that's 50,000 feet, that's acceptable as long as it's exciting the whole way through. So the longer you make the coaster, you have to maintain that excitement factor. I think a Galcian style coaster ranges up to about 20,000 feet is what we've seen from him. 20,000 feet on Arcadia Rising, I believe. 3 kilometers, if to give you guys an idea, that longest coaster that we've ever seen was 9 kilometers, which was silver in the top 10 coasters of the month last month from, was it Combat Wombat? It was the Elemental Fury. That was 9,000 meters. Very long coaster. So we're doing a third of that. You can do something crazy like what Combat Wombat did. Absolutely no launch coasters allowed, guys. None. No Torques, no Cloud Runners, or anything like that. No kiddie coasters. So spinning, free swing, Wendigo, Dragon, Looney Turns. I'll show you guys all this in a second. No boomerangs, obviously. And here, I made a chart for you guys so we can look at this. And I want to talk about this. So if you click the link, it'll take you to this chart. You can simply download the chart, open that up, and you could zoom in. And I've categorized all the coasters. This is going to help you guys. We're going to show you guys what coasters you're allowed to use and what you're not allowed to use. But we're going to talk about it and break it down a little bit so I can help you guys come up with a good understanding of what an exploration coaster should do and what these excel at. So I've divided my categories of coasters into, like, the big category is the looping coasters. So basically any coaster that can do inversions is in this upper category, but I've subdivided them even further. So we have our standard corkscrews and stuff like that. We have our hybrids, our dive coasters, our inverted coasters, and our winged coasters. So I want to talk about these and tell you guys what I feel like they will excel at for these exploration coasters. First up, we have the standard looping coasters. Everything is allowed here except for the Torque launched coaster, obviously, but these are your traditional corkscrews. So the American Arrow is as basic of a corkscrew as you can get. The Werewolf is a floorless coaster, the Enigma is a stand-up, and the Basilisk is a single rail unique coaster, which we saw Galcian use for Arcadia Rising and Terra Rising, and it's a very smooth coaster. It's very fun, it has very low friction, and it's a great coaster. I would say out of all 4 of these, it's the best coaster for doing an exploration. So if you're thinking about doing a corkscrew, this is probably the way to go. However, it would still be really cool to see some stand-up and floorless stuff. I would say the American Aero is the weakest choice of them all, and that's just my personal opinion. All right, moving on to the hybrids. These are just your hybrid wooden steel coasters. They can do inversions like the wooden coaster cannot do, and they're both pretty much the same. One is just steel topped and one is like wooden topped or something like that. It's just a little bit of a different style looking. One has headlights and one does not. Now, one thing to note about all these looping coasters, guys, is if you're navigating and you're using giant inversions, loops, barrel rolls, and all that stuff, there's other coasters that cannot do that. So we're not looking to see who can make the best trickster coaster. So if you're adding inversions, you want to be sure that you're coming out of a cave and inverting back into another one, or you're doing a loop around a waterfall, or you're corkscrewing over something, and you want to use those inversions with the terrain strategically. If we just see, you know, a coaster coming out of a cave and doing 6 inversions, you know, it's not really doing exploration. It's pulling away from exploration and it's doing tricks. So be careful when you're using these inverted coasters, and be sure to use it as it's helping the train navigate the terrain. For the dive coasters, guys, these ones are not allowed. The Barcast is a straight vertical lift, and it also has a booster. The Looney Turns is not allowed because it's a kiddie coaster, but the only one that's allowed of the dive coasters is the Aethon. It's a very lightweight coaster. It runs out of speed quickly. I guess it has high friction, so it loses speed quite drastically, but you can get some really awesome dives. You can dive straight off a cliff, you can dive through a waterfall, and you can do some really fun stuff with this dive coaster, and there's only one option for you to use there. It'll be interesting, and I think it's a good choice if you want to get some awesome big drops and scares, and you can actually even hold the coaster above the cliff before you drop it. Yeah, it's a very interesting choice, and I do recommend this one. I think it'd be cool to see a dive coaster exploration. So then we got the inverted coaster. My thoughts on this, guys, is of the Boa and the Rival. The Boa is essentially a 2-seater inverted coaster, and the Rival is just a 4-seater. This one's a little bit heavier, seats more people than this one. So out of all the inverted coasters, guys, I think the Stingray is the coolest option. So these ones are hanging, and, you know, like the track is above you, so you're not getting the vistas. So unless you're up high, but then all your supports are hanging down low, if that makes sense. I feel like the hanging inverted coasters are quite weak in terms of getting your vistas and getting that exploration done. I do say the Stingray would be a really awesome option, because what you end up happening is you can face your camera looking down, because that's kind of how the Stingray is intended to be. It's a laying down coaster, so you're looking straight down and a little bit forward. So if I do ride this and someone chooses to do the Stingray, I'm going to point the camera down a little bit, so we're looking at the ground. And when we ride this, it's like you're flying and you're looking down. So this one could be amazing for top-down vistas. You're soaring through the air like a hawk, looking down at all this cool stuff and big drops. So this one could be the best option of the 3, I think. And it's an interesting choice there. For the winged coasters, you're not allowed to use the Cloud Runner because it is a launched coaster. However, the Black Falcon and Test Pilot are allowed. What's interesting about the Test Pilot, it's for all ages. And I don't know what it is about this coaster that allows it to be for all ages. But one thing, so you do guys know, the chairs, they rotate. So you can literally flip the view of where you want your guests to be looking. So if this thing's going forward to a cliff, you could literally rotate the seat to look down to prepare you for that. And then when it goes down the cliff, you can rotate the seat back forward. So you're dropping like an elevator. You're looking forward, but you're dropping down. So this one would actually be very interesting for rearranging the point of view of your experience while you're looking at these vistas. The Black Falcon is also interesting because it actually has a hawk on top of the train. All the way down, there's a bunch of hawks, and you're hanging off the side just like this one. It's kind of like you're flying. So these ones are very great exploration coasters in my opinion, because they allow you to have that feeling of flying and you're hanging off the track. So very interesting indeed. The speed coasters, guys, I have a category for that. There's 6 of them total. So there's the narrow and long. What these are is essentially they hold the most people in the game. game, and they're also for all ages. You can get a lot of people on these coasters. So these two here, they can seat 48 people, the most people that you can sit on any coaster in the game. The Invincible can seat 36 people, and the Sprint is out of the question because it's a launch coaster. But yeah, they're very long, they're very heavy duty, and they pack on a lot of people. These two are pretty much the same. The trains are a little bit different. These ones have these little windshields which kind of block your vision, so I probably wouldn't recommend the Equalizer because of that windshield thingy. The Anubis is probably a better option. It's a little bit more open, you can see over it a little bit better, and it's 6 people per car, and the train is both 48 per. So they're really just the same. The track design is a little bit different. The Invincible is a cable lift, and it's also a unique, almost like that, has that single rail track feel, like the coaster's hugging the sides of it, and it's one big square, somewhat like the single rail Basilisk, but it's made out of these like steel scaffold beams. So it's an interesting ride, and it's kind of like smoothing that square track out a little bit. It's a Giga coaster, so very good for speed, these ones, and I feel like these two would be really fun exploration coasters. Obviously they can't do inversions and stuff, so it's all going to be about the banking and the speed, and because there's so many people on these coasters, there's going to be a lot of weight, and I really like that. There's the wide and short. Now what's interesting is they're a little bit more extreme. They're not as long, they hold a little bit less people, and it's for adults and teens only. The design of the train themselves is a little bit more extreme feeling and gives you a different experience. This one holds 28 people, and this one holds 40 people. It's a Giga coaster. It's a little bit more heavy duty, a little bit more intense. The Tiamat is a little bit lighter. It doesn't hold as many people, and it's going to have a lot less weight and friction. I would probably say the Rage is the better of the two options for exploration, simply because it has that weight and that capacity. So very cool indeed. So I like the ideas of all of these, but my favorites here are the Anubis, the Rage, and the Invincible. Moving on to the casual coasters, you're not allowed to use the Wendigo, the Dragon, the Spiral, or the Pioneer, and we might have contests for these types of things in the future, guys, so it's also one of the reasons we chose not to do it, along with the fact that the friction is a little bit strange for an exploration coaster on these, but there's reasons we didn't choose to do it. However, we are letting you use the Canyon Runner. It is an all ages coaster. It's very similar to the wooden coaster. However, I feel like it could go a little bit faster. It's a little bit more furious. It's a really fun coaster to ride at the back. It seats 48 people as well, so it has a huge capacity. It's very heavy. The wooden coaster seats 42 people. This one, it's a little bit more interesting in terms of your vistas. You don't have the rails getting in your way like you do with the wooden coaster. And the wooden coaster, you have the chairs. They're high seat chairs, and they get in your way as well. So unless you're riding the front of the wooden coaster, it's different. It depending on how you want to display your coaster. The wooden coaster, you're going to be sitting at the front, whereas the Canyon Runner, you're going to want to be sitting at the back. So do you want to be whipping around corners and getting that kind of experience? The Canyon Runner seems like a very fun option, and I wouldn't mind seeing one or two of those. So that's pretty much it, guys. You know, the different benefits of all these coasters, like I've kind of explained, is like if you're going to be doing lots of corkscrews, spirals, and looping in and out of waterfalls and caves and inverting and stuff like that, you have some pretty good options here. I think the Basilisk is a great one for that. Probably the strongest in my opinion. The hybrid coasters are also really cool. They're much like a wooden coaster but with inversions, so you've got to make use of those inversions. Otherwise you could have just used a wooden coaster and that would have probably been better. The one dive coaster is a very unique option, and it's going to be great for lots of drops. The Stingrays are a really good unique option for looking down at vistas, and these are okay. I'd say it'd be challenging to get them to be great, so I would probably stray away from them. The winged coasters are a really good option, great for vistas, and the test pilot has some really cool features with it as well. My personal favorite is the Giga coasters. I think the Invincible and the Rage are two really great options, and I also like the Anubis. These are going to be great for just heavy high speeds, dropping, turning, banking sideways, and getting that exploration done in a jiffy. I think they're going to be really intense and fast. Same with the Canyon Runner. That thing can go pretty fast. contest. I'm a fan of the wooden coasters. The Canyon and the Monster both are very interesting and classic. And they're going to fit really well if you decide to do like a Western themed style exploration coaster. There it all is. It's a breakdown of all your options, guys. I ranted quite long, but I wanted you guys to get a thorough understanding of what you can use, what you can't use, the pros and the cons, basically, of all the different coasters. So there you have it, guys. There's a link to that page on the forum here. You may specify whether you want your ride to be judged at day or night, but keep in mind, if other rides excel at both, you may not earn quite as many points during judging. So just make an awesome ride and do nighttime lighting after. There you go. We'd prefer to see what you can make, but if you do use other people's blueprints from the Steam Workshop, you must credit the original creators. If you're using a whole bunch of workshop items, you have to list it in the description of your item on the Steam page, and as well as when you submit it. Basically do it in your Steam page and copy paste it in your submission. You may have collision disabled, so you could use that no collision however you want. Judges may not participate in the contest, so I will not be participating, but I may still do one. So the judging, we will have a judges panel. Johnny Lauren and another master/expert builder who volunteers will score the final submissions and decide the final winners. So I think I mentioned this earlier. We have weight classes. So the beginners are the lightweights, the builders and advanced builders are the middleweights, the experts and masters and legends are the heavyweights. So they're competing in their own divisions to make it fair. And then when we judge each of the categories, we'll be judging based off of a different scoring system than we did before. So now we're doing a lot of emphasis, a 10-point emphasis of the design and layout of your coaster. So it's the use of momentum. Did you use the coaster dry? If you make a chain lift and it takes you really high and the coaster is just running out of momentum as it comes back into the station, that's what we're looking for. Now, you can use multiple lifts if you so choose. In some cases, like if your coaster just ran out of momentum as it's reaching the second lift, and then that lift takes you on another adventure, then that's cool, because you're going to need 2 lifts if you have a ton of exploration. If you could have achieved the whole thing with just 1 lift, that's what we're looking for. So this also includes the correct use of track design elements, the drops, the banking, the airtime, the smoothness, and all that good stuff. Terrain design is a new one for this contest. It's running at 10 points possible. So how well did you create vistas and interaction with the coaster? Is your coaster going through caves? Does it have waterfalls? Do you have bridges? Like, what kind of crazy stuff have you created for us? Do you have canyons? Did you, I don't know, build a cloud in the sky? Did you make some sculptures? There's a ton of things you can do with terrain, guys, and we want to see you push your terrain skills in this competition. The last one is the least important. It's only 5, and it's the artistry and level of detail. So keep in mind, because artistry and level of detail is only 5 points, we did say we want you to build your own blueprints if possible, but that's completely up to you. If you want to use everybody's blueprints from the Steam Workshop and just say, screw it, I'm going to credit everybody. If you use them in a correct way, there's still a good chance you're going to get a few points in artistry, especially because there's going to be a lot of things that you put in, like the trees, the waterfalls, the rocks, all that stuff you did yourself, and then you used a lot of blueprints like airships and different things like that. You're still going to get a good few amount of points, especially if you use them in a very good layout, but you'll be docked a couple points, and because the majority of the competition is how well is your coaster designed and how well is your terrain design. If it saves you time to use other people's blueprints, you won't be docked that hard. But if you knock this out of the park and you knock these out of the park, you're for sure a winner. So artistry will be the deciding factor at one point or another. So be sure to put some love into the little bridges, the little buildings, and whatever things that you have your coaster exploring through. You could do elements and stuff, fire, ice, wind, all those different things. Think of Elemental Fury. His track design, he had a huge coaster. The terrain was amazing, and his artistry was incredible. Really good job on Elemental Fury. I think it's a good example of this exploration style coaster. So if any of these tie when we're giving our voting system, we'll be basically deciding who wins based off of the combined points, and there likely will be some ties, and we'll talk it out. So there it is, everybody. That's the exploration coaster contest, but it's not going to end there. There's another contest. So So alongside the exploration contest is a themed coaster station contest. So obviously your awesome exploration coaster is going to need a station. So we're doing this 2-week contest, the themed coaster station contest. So alongside the exploration coaster contest, you will be running a 2-week contest for coaster station blueprints. You will be allowed to submit the coaster station for your exploration coaster as a blueprint for this contest. So in other words, you get to use your themed coaster station for your exploration coaster. So you go off, you build your station, you plop it down, and now you start building your exploration coaster from that station. Contest will run until May 26th, my birthday. There you have it. And judging will take place the soon after, probably 2 days after. We'll see. This contest will not be using the new builder weight class, and instead we will be judging entries by category. So we're doing a horizontal scale rather than a vertical scale. First place winner of each category will receive their choice of 1 game from the prize list. So there will be 6 categories, I believe, and you guys will be competing in a category based, not a weight class based. And I'll do a video showcasing the submissions, of course, and we'll have a little series on that. So there's a new submission form for that. It's going to be self-explanatory. Let's take a look at it. So there's a drop down menu here. You get to choose your theme: sci-fi, fantasy, pirate, western, and miscellaneous. So there's 5 themes there for you guys. So you may enter multiple blueprints. However, only 1 entry per category. Members will be accepted. So for example, you may enter once in the sci-fi station, and then once in the fantasy, and once in the miscellaneous. You could essentially do 5 stations and have a chance to win 5 times. Entries must be placeable blueprints. Collision off is fine. Please include the base coaster station inside the blueprint, but not the entire coaster. What this means is essentially certain coaster stations might fit differently depending on what kind of coaster it is. Dive coaster stations are they're different sizes, so you might want to include that in with your blueprint. Shops and flat rides are allowed inside the blueprint, so be creative, guys. Feel free to add a little shopping center and all that stuff. One thing to note, guys, this is allowed to go up to 4K blueprints, so we're looking for the biggest, baddest coaster creations. The thing about coaster stations, guys, is we don't see them too often. What we see is a coaster station in with a coaster and a decorated themed coaster blueprint, and the 4,000 pieces are divided up amongst the entire coaster blueprint. So now this gives us the opportunity to put a whole bunch of new blueprints onto the Steam Workshop. So if somebody's wanting, they just built a sci-fi coaster in their park, they can come to the Channel 5 Gaming collection and grab a sci-fi coaster station. And you guys can go all the way up to 4,000 pieces on this because you're not worrying about a blueprint and your coaster is in a park. So when we do the judging, we're going to be judging the 5 different categories. So we'll be judging all the sci-fi items against each other. We'll be judging all the fantasy. This also includes steampunk western. Fantasy also includes steampunk fantasy. So we're looking at steampunk as an accessory. So if we see like a castle with steampunk, we'll put it in here. If we see, that sort of thing. Pirate also includes Caribbean. One thing I forgot to mention is the planet coaster theme. Not that many people do it, but I did it for my go-karts. That's included with the sci-fi because we just figured there wasn't enough people interested in it, so it'll be pitted up against sci-fi. Miscellaneous is all the categories such as Asian, Aztec, Mayan, Temple, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, modern realism, and recreations. So if you wanted to do a Mario go-kart themed station or something like that, a Yoshi's themed station, it's going into miscellaneous as a recreation, and all of these are pitted up against each other. So the person who made an Asian station, they are going up against someone who did an Egyptian or a Mario go-kart one. So miscellaneous will definitely be the toughest category, and it might be also the broadest. So there you go. And then the scoring, we're judging on artistry and level of detail for 10 points, and the design and usability. So is the station easy to traverse and path? If your paths are essentially too complicated to set up and the whole thing's a big hairy mess, we'll definitely dock some points there. If it's nice and easy to set up and not too complicated, I'm only one of 3 judges, guys, but I'm a wizard when it comes to setting up paths, and I also give people a headache with my creations when setting up paths. So I'll probably be the most lenient on this, but we'll have to see. So just try and make it as straightforward as possible, but also have fun with it. Put some flat rides in there if you have to. Put some shops and facilities in there. Make this grandiose shopping mall, SkyTrain station, or coaster station. Do whatever you want. Be as crazy you want to be, and hit the theme that fits your exploration coaster. So if I'm doing a wooden exploration coaster on an arid, dry map, it's probably going to make sense if I hit up a Western station. Or maybe I want to do like a Mars style map, and it's a sci-fi theme, and I put a sci-fi station on there, and this thing goes and explores a spooky alien planet. So there it is, everybody. Those are the two contests. My recording is 38 minutes long. Hopefully trim it down quite a bit. Hopefully that wasn't too bad for you guys. The reason I decided to make a video for this one is because there was a lot more to go over this time, and I wanted everybody to be really clear on what's happening and to be able to hear it all and understand it all, and also wanted to go over what's happening with the boomerang contest so you guys can get excited about that. So anyways, there's also going to be another contest coming up the moment this one ends. So this is a 2-week contest. The moment it ends, we're going to launch another one so that the second small contest ends at the same time as the exploration contest. So this month, guys, we're having 3 new contests, and we're bringing up more contests and events every single month to make this community more engaging, more fun, and just keep it alive. So hope you all have fun with this, and I can't wait to see what you guys submit and what kind of creativity you guys come up with, and it's just a good old time. So looking forward to it, and I'm super excited about closing off the boomerang contest in the next couple days, so stay tuned for that, everybody. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you're excited about this contest as much as I am, and I hope you all get building. So be sure to come join our Planet Coaster Discord community, everybody. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily Planet Coaster videos, and if you guys want to support the channel and keep it going, you can do so by becoming a patron or leaving a donation or tip using the links down in the description below. All right, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.